All right, so we're diving into this Screen Rant article today. It's called Dune's New Home. The voice twist is its most shocking yet. And it's about the HBO Max prequel series, Dune. Prophecy. So if you're into the Bene Gesserit and their whole voice power thing, you're going to want to listen to this.
Yeah, this article really highlights a twist that changes, like how we think about the voice and what its limitations are.
Yeah, so remember the season finale, when Tula Harkonnen uses the voice on her own sister, Mother Reverend Superior Valya.
Oh, yeah.
Now everyone always thought, like, Valya was untouchable.
Well,
maybe even immune to the voice.
Right, and it's not just because of her position. You know, it's Mother Reverend Superior. The article even mentions how surprised Valya seems. Like, she really thought she was beyond the reach of the voice.
Huh. So was it respect for her position that kept people from using the voice on her? Or was there something else going on?
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
It seems like Tula succeeding really throws a wrench into things.
It does.
Like everything we thought we knew about the voice.
It makes you wonder if maybe there are like levels of mastery with the voice that we just haven't seen before.
What?
Or like hidden vulnerabilities that, you know, haven't been explored until now.
That's a good point. And the show keeps going with it. The article points out how Dune, prophecy, it makes the voice so much more interesting than in the Dune movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're showing us its origins. And they even introduce a character who seems to be like the first one to resist it.
Yeah, Desmond Hart. Him being able to resist the voice, it really turns things around for the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, like their supposed absolute control. So if Desmond's resistance is because of technology, could the Bene Gesserit make their own technology to counter the voice?
It's possible, and that would raise even more questions about, you know, the future of power in the Dune universe.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the article mentions this theory that Desmond's resistance could be because he's part machine. What do you think about that?
Well, it definitely adds like a whole other layer to the story. Especially since, you know, the Harkonnens were involved in raising him. It's possible that they experimented on him. And maybe they used technology in a way that, you know, accidentally made him resistant to the voice.
Wow. The article also brought up a comment from a Screen Rant user. They suggested that Desmond's resistance might be supernatural.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that adds a whole other dimension to the mystery.
It does. And it reminds us that in the Dune universe, the line between technology and the supernatural, it can be really blurry.
Yeah, that's true. So instead of just controlling other people, what if someone used the voice to protect themselves? Like, could they use it to protect themselves from a sandworm attack?
That's a fascinating question. You know, there's no mention of anyone trying that in the article, but it makes you think about all the things the voice could be used for besides just manipulation.
Right. This makes me think, what if Valya was the one who developed the voice, like the article suggests? What does that tell us about her?
That's a key question. I think it gets to the core of what the Bene Gesserits are all about. Were they always about control, even back then? Or was the voice originally something completely different? Maybe a tool for protection, or even healing?
Yeah. The article doesn't give us any definite answers, but it does suggest that Valya wanted to, you know, guide humanity towards a better future.
Right. But as we know, the Bene Gesserit's idea of a better future, it doesn't always match up with everyone else's. Their methods can be pretty ruthless, even if they think they're doing the right thing.
That's so true. So the voice could have been created with good intentions, but it could also be used for bad. This really adds to the mystery of the Bene Gesserit.
It does. It makes you really examine the people who have this power. Are they really good? Or are they just as likely to be corrupted as anyone else?
Totally. So with all these revelations about the voice, like how it might not be as powerful as we thought and how it started, and all the ethical questions surrounding it, do you think Dune prophecy is something every Dune fan needs to watch?
That's a good question. I think it depends on what you're looking for as a fan. If you want a complete explanation of everything in the Dune universe, Dune, prophecy might not be the best place to start. It focuses a lot on the Bene Gesserit and their relationship with the Harkonnens.
Right. And we haven't seen much of, like the Spacing Guild or the Fremen yet. But even if it's not a complete picture, I still think any hardcore Dune fan should watch it.
I agree. It gives us a new way of looking at things we thought we knew. And it introduces new characters like Desmond Hart, who could change everything about how power works in the Dune universe. It's clear the show is leading up to something big. I'm hooked.
Me too. And speaking of changing things up, let's talk about Tula using the voice on Valya. That was a pretty bold move, especially considering Valya's position and the respect she had. What do you think made Tula take that risk?
Well, the article says that Tula was desperate to protect her son Desmond, We've seen throughout the series that she'll do anything to keep him safe, even defy her own order. It seems like her instincts as a mother were stronger than her duty to the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah. It's also interesting to think about what might happen because of what Tula did. The Bene Gesserits are known for their strict rules, and they don't like people going against them. Will they just forgive Tula for defying them? Or will there be consequences?
That's a great question. It really shows the tension that can exist between what an individual wants and what a powerful organization demands. The Bene Gesserit have a long-term plan. They carefully manipulate things to get what they want. Something like this. You know someone openly defying them could mess up their plans and force them to change their strategies.
So Tula's actions could lead to a split within the Bene Gesserit.
It's definitely possible. If other Bene Gesserit members agree with why Tula did it, or if they start to question their leaders, it could create a divide that weakens them from the inside. On the other hand, they might close ranks and punish Tula harshly to make an example of her and stop anyone else from doing the same thing.
Wow. So Tula's actions could have huge consequences for the Bene Gesserit. But let's not forget about the other major players, the Harkonnens. The article talks about their role in Desmond's life and how they might have experimented on him, maybe even putting technology into his body.
Right.
That's a scary thought.
It is. The Harkonnens are known for being ruthless, and they're willing to use people to get what they want if they're the ones who messed with Desmond. It adds another layer of moral complexity to this whole story.
It makes you wonder what they were trying to do with Desmond. Were they trying to create a weapon to use against the Bene Gesserit? Or did they have something even worse in mind?
It's hard to say for sure. The Harkonnens are masters of deception. You never really know what they're up to, not even the people closest to them. But one thing's for certain. Their involvement with Desmond raises some serious ethical questions about power and how far people are willing to go with experiments on humans.
Right. And it makes Desmond resisting the voice even more impressive. He's not just defying the Bene Gesserit, he's also breaking free from the Harkonnens, the people who tried to turn him into a tool.
Exactly.
It shows how strong the human spirit can be, and it suggests that Desmond might have an important role to play in this whole fight between the Bene Gesserit and the Harkonnens.
I agree.
Something else that really caught my attention in the article
Yeah.
was how Dune, prophecy goes into the history of the voice. Before this, we mostly saw it as a tool of the Bene Gesserit. But now we're getting a glimpse of how it was developed, like its early stages.
Right.
And the fact that Valya might have been the one who created it, it adds a whole other level of intrigue.
It does.
The article hints that Valya was trying to protect humanity.
Yeah.
And guide it towards a better future. But we know the Bene Gesserit. Their methods can be pretty morally gray.
Yeah, definitely.
So even if Valya had good intentions, creating the voice could be seen as a double-edged sword, a tool that could be used for both good and evil. Exploring the voice's origins really adds to the moral complexity of the Bene Gesserit.
It does.
It makes you wonder if they've always been obsessed with control, or if there was a time when they were more about helping humanity.
That's an interesting question. It highlights the fact that even powerful organizations like the Bene Gesserit can change over time. Their values and priorities might have shifted over the centuries, leading them down a path where control became their main focus.
That's a really good point. Or maybe it's more complicated than that. Maybe their desire for control has always been there, but it was hidden by a genuine desire to protect humanity. And as they gained more power, that desire for control became more important. And that's what shaped their actions and the Dune universe itself.
That's a very insightful observation. It shows how complex human nature is and how our motivations can change over time, even within a rigid organization like the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what would the Bene Gesserit be like without the voice? Would they still be a force to be reckoned with? Or would they have to find new ways to exert their influence?
That's a great question, and I think it shows how adaptable they are. The Bene Gesserit are masters of manipulating things behind the scenes. They're good at playing the long game, using their political skills and their knowledge of genetics and psychology to shape history, while the voice is a powerful tool for them. I don't think they would just disappear without it.
So even without the voice, they would still find ways to make their presence felt, using their other strengths to stay influential and keep going after their goals.
Exactly. They're survivors.
Yeah.
And they believe in their own destiny. They would find a way, even if it meant changing their strategies and coming up with new tactics to replace the voice.
Now that we know the voice might not be as foolproof as we thought, do you think the Bene Gesserit will change how they train?
Oh, definitely. They might start focusing on mental defenses against the voice, training their acolytes to resist manipulation and strengthen their own minds. Or they might explore new ways to influence people, focusing more on politics or economics, or even technology to achieve their goals.
It's interesting to imagine how they might change in response to this. Their whole history is based on the idea that the voice is unbeatable. Now that that's been challenged, they'll have to adapt or risk losing their power.
Exactly. And that process of adapting could have huge consequences for the whole Dune universe. If they become less reliant on the voice, it could create a power vacuum that other factions might try to fill. Or it could lead to a more balanced distribution of power, forcing the Bene Gesserit to negotiate with other groups instead of just telling them what to do.
The possibilities are endless. It's exciting to think about how Dune prophecy might be setting the stage for a big shift in power in the Dune universe.
It definitely is. It's a story worth paying attention to. I think it has the potential to change how we see the Bene Gesserit and their place in the grand scheme of things.
And it all comes from this shocking twist
Yeah.
involving the voice and the mysterious Desmond Hart.
Yeah. It reminds us that even in a universe as vast and complex as Dune, there are always new secrets to uncover and new stories to be told.
All right. We've covered a lot today. Tula's shocking use of the voice against Valya, Desmond's mysterious resistance, and what all this means for the Dune universe.
Yeah. But there's one more thing I want to bring up before we move on. Remember that Screen Rant user who was disappointed that the series hadn't explored certain things yet? Like the Navigators and the Mentats and the weirding way.
Oh, yeah. It seemed like they wanted to see more of all the things that make Dune so unique and interesting.
Right. And they have a point. Dune, Prophecy is a great story. But it does focus mostly on the Bene Gesserit and their relationship with the Harkonnens. It hasn't gone into as much detail about the other groups and forces that shape the Dune universe.
Yeah. So some viewers might feel like they're missing part of the picture.
Right. But it's important to remember that this is just the first season. There's still plenty of time for them to introduce those other elements in future seasons.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
They've already shown us that they're not afraid to take risks
Oh, definitely.
and explore new territory in the Dune universe.
Absolutely. And I, for one, am excited to see how they expand the story and delve deeper into all the mythology of Dune.
Me too. This is what I love about being a Dune fan. There's always something new to discover, always another layer to peel back.
It's a universe that's constantly evolving and expanding, with endless possibilities for exploration and interpretation.
And Dune, Prophecy, is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
It's a fresh take on a classic that honors the source material, but also goes in its own direction.
And who knows, maybe it will even lead to future adaptations that delve deeper into the unexplored parts of the Dune universe.
I hope so. I'm always up for more Dune, especially when it's as well-made and thought-provoking as Dune, Prophecy.
Me too. And I have a feeling we're just at the beginning of a
Yeah.
new golden age for Dune adaptation.
Now that's something to get excited about. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer scale and complexity of the Dune universe.
Yeah.
From the political maneuvering of the great houses, to the mystical powers of the Bene Gesserit, to the vast and unforgiving landscape of Arrakis. There's something for everyone in this epic saga.
Absolutely.
And with Dune, Prophecy, the story is only getting richer and more intricate.
It's a reminder that even in a universe as vast as Dune, there are always new secrets to uncover, new stories to be told, and new perspectives to explore.
All right, let's take a break here and come back to discuss some of the specific details and theories that have emerged from this shocking twist in Dune, Prophecy.
Sounds good to me.
I'm with you on that. We'll be back soon to continue our deep dive into this fascinating new chapter in the Dune saga.
Looking forward to it. Welcome back. Ready to dig deeper into those theories and details we mentioned?
Yeah, for sure. One thing that really struck me about all this is that we're seeing Dune, Prophecy, explore the origins of the voice.
Yeah.
At the same time that Denis Villeneuve's Dune movies are so popular.
Oh, yeah. It's interesting. It's like the movies are introducing a whole new generation to Dune.
Right.
And the series is digging into its ancient history, showing us where those iconic elements came from.
It's like our understanding of the past. It changes how we see the present.
Exactly. And vice versa.
It's all connected.
It really shows how powerful Frank Herbert's creation is. Dune is a universe that keeps expanding, always showing us new layers of complexity and depth.
All right. Let's talk about Desmond Hart. The article says his resistance to the voice could be connected to him being part machine, maybe because of those Harkonnen experiments. What do you think the implications of that are? especially since we know the voice will eventually be used by powerful figures like Paul Atreides.
That's a really important point. If Desmond's resistance is because of technology, it means other people could copy those augmentations, or even make them better, maybe creating a whole group of people who are immune to the voice.
Whoa! That would change everything about power in the Dune universe.
It would.
Imagine a future where the Bene Gesserit's control is challenged, not by force, but by technology.
That would be a huge shift. They would have to change their strategies completely, and maybe even team up with groups they used to look down on.
Wow. And we can't forget about the ethical side of things. If the Harkonnens are the ones who did this to Desmond,
Right.
it makes you question their methods and how little they care about human life.
The Harkonnens have never been known for being ethical, but this takes things to a whole other level.
It's scary to think about what else they might be capable of.
It is.
The article also mentioned that a Screen Rant user suggested that Desmond's resistance might be supernatural.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That adds another layer of mystery to the story.
It does. It reminds us that in Dune, sometimes technology is so advanced, it's almost like magic.
Yeah, Desmond's resistance to the voice could be one of those things.
It could be.
It makes me think about what this means for the Bene Gesserit. If technology or even something supernatural can counter the voice,
Right.
it makes their whole approach to power and control seem less certain.
Yeah, their reliance on the voice has always been a gamble. It's given them a lot of power. But it also makes them vulnerable to anyone who can resist it.
So this twist in Dune, prophecy, it makes me wonder if the Bene Gesserit's obsession with control could be their downfall.
It's an interesting thought. They believe they're always right. Maybe that will blind them to potential threats, leaving them unprepared for a world where their dominance is challenged.
And the fact that this challenge is coming from Desmond, someone who's so mysterious and unpredictable,
Right.
it makes it even more interesting.
It does. It adds a level of uncertainty to the story. It makes you question everything you thought you knew and wonder what other surprises might be coming.
Okay, let's talk about Tula Harkonnen, her using the voice on her own sister Valya, Mother Reverend Superior. That was a bold move. And a risky one. The article points out how surprised Valya looked, like she really thought she was immune.
Yeah.
What do you think about Tula's motivations and what might happen because of what she did?
Well, it's clear that Tula loves her son Desmond. She'll do anything to protect him, even go against the Bene Gesserit, her own sister. Everything she's ever believed in.
It's a powerful example of a mother's love.
It is.
But it also shows the conflicts that can happen in an organization like the Bene Gesserit, where there's a strict hierarchy. What an individual wants can clash with the demands of the order, and that can lead to rebellion.
Exactly.
Tula's actions could have big consequences. The Bene Gesserits are known for their strict rules, and they don't tolerate people who disagree with them.
Right.
Do you think they'll forgive her for this?
It's hard to say. It'll be interesting to see how they react.
Do you think what Tula did could spark a movement within the Bene Gesserit, like a push for change?
Maybe. It's possible. Maybe other members who have doubts about the Bene Gesserit or who are unhappy with their leaders will see what Tula did as an inspiration.
It would be interesting to see the Bene Gesserit forced to deal with their own contradictions and ask themselves if their methods are really for the greater good, or if they're just about holding on to power.
That's a good point.
And of course, we can't forget about the Harkonnens. They've been a big part of Desmond's life.
Yeah.
They're not going to just sit back and watch while he gets caught in the middle of this power struggle.
No, they won't. The Harkonnens are always looking for an opportunity to exploit a situation for their own benefit.
They're all about power.
They are. They see it as a game, and they'll do whatever it takes to win.
So you think they might try to use Desmond?
I wouldn't be surprised. They might try to manipulate him, use him as a weapon against their enemies, or as a bargaining chip.
That's scary.
It is.
But it also reminds us that in Dune, there aren't always clear-cut heroes and villains.
All right.
Everyone has their own motivations.
Everyone's playing the game.
And sometimes good intentions lead to bad outcomes.
It's one of the things that makes Dune so interesting. It's complex. It's not just a simple story of good versus evil.
All right. Let's take a minute to think about what Desmond's resistance means. It's not just about challenging the Bene Gesserit. It's about the nature of power itself and what humans are capable of.
You're right. Desmond's resistance is a symbol of hope. It shows that even in a universe dominated by powerful institutions and manipulative individuals, there's still room for individual will and defiance.
It makes you wonder if there are other people like Desmond out there, people who can resist control.
It does.
Maybe they could create a more just and equal society.
Maybe. It's an intriguing idea. It suggests that there could be a whole new faction that challenges the Bene Gesserit's monopoly on the voice and creates a more balanced distribution of power in the Dune universe.
It's exciting to think about how Desmond's resistance could change the future of Dune.
It is. It reminds us that even in a universe as vast and complex as Dune, there are always new possibilities, new challenges, and new stories waiting to be told.
Now, let's go back to the article's exploration of the voice's origins. It's revealed that Valya might have been the one who developed it. It makes you think about her motivations and whether the voice is inherently good or evil.
It's a classic dilemma, the power to influence people. It can be used for good or bad,
Right.
and with the voice. There's no doubt it can be abused. It can be used to manipulate people, control them, silence those who disagree, and maintain power structures that might not benefit everyone.
But the article also suggests that Valya might have created the voice to protect humanity, to guide them through dangerous times.
It's an interesting thought, but it also makes you ask, who gets to decide what's best for everyone, and how far are they willing to go to achieve that?
It's a slippery slope.
It is.
Good intentions can lead to terrible outcomes.
Exactly. The Bene Gesserit believe they're doing what's right, but they can be ruthless. And their arrogance can blind them to the consequences of their actions.
This exploration of the voice's origins, it really makes the Bene Gesserit seem less black and white.
It does.
We have to question their motives, compare their good actions with their questionable methods, and recognize that even groups that claim to be working for the greater good can be corrupted by power.
Absolutely. And that makes the Dune universe relevant to our own world, where we're constantly dealing with questions of power, control, and the ethics of those who try to shape our lives.
Do you think there are any limits to the Bene Gesserit's ambition? They were willing to create something as powerful and dangerous as the voice.
Right.
What else might they be capable of?
It's a chilling thought. It suggests that they might be even more manipulative than we realize.
And it raises the stakes for everyone else in the Dune universe.
Yeah.
If the Bene Gesserit are willing to go to such lengths.
What does that mean for those who stand in their way? It means they're in for a dangerous game where the rules are always changing and the consequences of losing can be devastating.
No.
Yeah.
Let's get back to Desmond Hart. The article suggests that his resistance might be because,
Me's part machine.
possibly because of those Harkonnen experiments.
It's a fascinating idea. It makes you wonder about the nature of the voice. And if there's any way to counter it, if Desmond's resistance is because of technology, maybe other people could replicate it, or even make it stronger, creating a whole group of people who are immune to the Bene Gesserit's most powerful weapon.
Could technology be the key to breaking the Bene Gesserit's control?
It's possible. It would add a whole new layer to the Dune universe. The interplay of politics, religion, and technology.
The article also talks about the theory that Desmond's resistance might be supernatural,
Oh, yeah.
which makes the story even more mysterious.
It does. In Dune, the line between technology and magic is often blurred.
Right.
Frank Herbert created a world where almost anything is possible, and Desmond's resistance could be a manifestation of those mystical elements.
It makes you wonder what other secrets might be hidden in Dune,
It does.
waiting to be discovered.
And it makes you question whether the Bene Gesserit, with all their knowledge and foresight, might have underestimated what they're dealing with.
You mean like forces they can't control?
Yeah. Forces that could challenge their dominance.
Okay, let's talk about Tula defying the Bene Gesserit. Her using the voice against Valya was a bold move. It showed she's willing to break the rules to protect her son.
It did.
What do you think the consequences of her actions will be, especially considering the Bene Gesserit's strict hierarchy and how they don't tolerate disobedience?
The Bene Gesserits are known for being strict. They don't like it when people challenge their authority.
Right.
Tula's actions could be seen as a serious threat. I doubt they'll let her get away with it.
But maybe her defiance will inspire others. Maybe other Bene Gesserit members who have doubts will see what she did and be encouraged to push for change.
It's possible. It would be interesting to see the Bene Gesserit forced to change,
Yeah.
to question their own methods and ask themselves if they're really doing what's best for everyone or if they're just trying to hold on to power.
And let's not forget about the Harkonnens. They've been involved in Desmond's life from the beginning.
They have.
They're not going to just sit back and watch all this unfold.
No, they weren't. The Harkonnens are always looking for a way to take advantage of a situation.
Right.
They see power as a game, and they play to win. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to manipulate Desmond, use him for their own purposes.
It's a scary thought,
It is.
but it's also a reminder that in Dune, there are no easy answers. There's no simple good versus evil.
Exactly. Everyone has their own agenda, their own motivations. And sometimes the right thing to do isn't always clear.
All right. Let's take a closer look at Desmond Hart. His resistance to the voice is a big deal. It challenges the Bene Gesserit's control,
It does.
but it also raises questions about the nature of power itself and what humans are capable of.
Desmond's resistance is a symbol of hope. It shows that even in a universe dominated by powerful forces, individual people can still fight back.
It makes you wonder if there might be others out there like Desmond, people who can resist oppression.
It does.
Maybe they could help create a more just and balanced world.
It's an interesting possibility. It suggests the potential for a whole new faction, one that challenges the Bene Gesserit and fights for a more equitable distribution of power.
Desmond's resistance could have huge implications for the future of Dune.
It could.
It reminds us that even in a universe as vast and complex as this one,
Right.
there are always new possibilities, new challenges to face.
And new stories to tell.
Now, let's go back to the article's exploration of the voice's origins. We learned that Valya might have been the one who created it,
Yeah,
which makes you think about her motivations.
it does.
Was she trying to do good, or was there something more sinister going on?
It's a tough question. The power to influence others can be used for good or bad.
Right.
And the voice is no exception. It can be used to manipulate and control, to silence dissent, and to maintain power structures that don't benefit everyone.
But the article also suggests that Valya might have created the voice with good intentions to protect humanity and guide them toward a better future.
It's possible, but it also raises the question of who gets to decide what's best for humanity and how far they're willing to go to achieve it.
Good intentions can sometimes lead to bad outcomes.
They can. The Bene Gesserit believe they're doing the right thing, but their methods can be questionable, and their arrogance can blind them to the potential consequences.
This exploration of the voice's origins adds a new dimension to the Bene Gesserit.
It does.
It makes them more complex.
More morally ambiguous.
It makes us question their motives and recognize that even organizations that claim to be working for good can be corrupted by power.
Absolutely. And that's something that resonates with our own world, where we see similar struggles with power and control.
Okay, let's talk about Tula's defiance of the Bene Gesserit. Using the voice against Valya was a risky move. It showed she's willing to break the rules for her son.
It did.
How do you think this will affect the Bene Gesserit? Their power structure, their whole way of doing things.
It's hard to say for sure, but I don't think they'll take it lightly. They're very strict, and they don't like it when people question their authority.
So you think Tula will be punished?
It's likely, but it's also possible that her actions will inspire others.
Other Bene Gesserit who are unhappy with how things are.
Yeah. Maybe it'll lead to some kind of reform movement within the Bene Gesserit.
That would be interesting to see.
It would.
And of course, we can't forget about the Harkonnens.
Right.
They've been involved with Desmond since he was a child.
They have.
They're not just going to sit back and watch all this happen.
No way. The Harkonnens are always looking for an opportunity to advance their own agenda.
So you think they might try to use Desmond for their own purposes?
I think it's very likely. They're ruthless.
Yeah.
And they're not afraid to use people to get what they want.
That's a scary thought.
It is.
But it also reminds us that in Dune, things are never simple.
Yeah.
There are no easy answers.
No clear-cut good guys and bad guys.
Everyone has their own motivations, their own goals.
And sometimes doing the right thing isn't so easy.
Okay, let's dive into some of the specific theories about Desmond Hart. The article suggests his resistance might be connected to him being part machine, maybe because of those Harkonnen experiments.
It's a fascinating theory. It raises questions about the nature of the voice and whether it can be countered. If Desmond's resistance is technological, it's possible others could replicate it, maybe even enhance it. Imagine a whole group of people immune to the Bene Gesserit's most powerful weapon.
That's a game changer.
It would be.
It would add a whole new layer of complexity to the Dune universe.
Would.
The interplay of politics, religion, and technology. It's mind-blowing.
It is.
The article also mentions the theory that Desmond's resistance could be supernatural.
Oh, yeah.
That adds a whole other level of intrigue.
It does. In Dune, the line between advanced technology and magic is often blurred.
Yeah.
Frank Herbert created a world where the impossible seems possible, and Desmond's resistance might be an example of that.
It makes you wonder what other secrets the Dune universe holds.
It does.
What other mysteries are waiting to be uncovered?
It's exciting to think about.
Okay, let's talk about Desmond's arrest. He was taken into custody, even though Tula revealed she was his mother.
That's surprising.
It is.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder about Tula's motivations and what might happen to Desmond now.
Yeah, it's a strange turn of events. You'd think Tula would have done everything she could to prevent that.
Right.
After all she went through to protect him.
Maybe she has a plan.
Maybe.
A strategy we haven't figured out yet.
It's possible.
Or maybe she was forced to make a difficult choice.
Yeah.
Sacrifice Desmond's freedom now to keep him safe in the long run.
That could be it.
Maybe she thinks he's better off in custody for now,
It's possible.
away from the Bene Gesserit
Right.
and the Harkonnens.
It's hard to say what Tula's thinking, but it's clear that she loves her son. And she's willing to do whatever it takes to protect him.
It's also clear that she's not afraid to break the rules,
No, she's not.
even if it means putting herself in danger.
She's a fascinating character.
She is. Now, let's go back to the article's exploration of the voice's origins. It says Valya might have been the one who developed it.
Right.
It makes you think about the nature of power and the ethics of manipulating others,
It does. It's a complex issue.
especially when it's done for what's supposedly the greater good.
Yeah. The Bene Gesserit believe they're acting in humanity's best interests. But their methods aren't always ethical.
Right.
And their definition of a better future might not be the same as everyone else's.
This whole thing with the voice, it adds another layer of complexity to the Bene Gesserit.
It does.
Makes you question their motives.
And their methods.
And it makes you wonder if their obsession with control might ultimately backfire on them.
That's an interesting thought.
The article also mentions that Dune. Prophecy doesn't really explore some other parts of the Dune universe.
Yeah.
Like the Navigators and the Mentants and the Weirding Way.
That's true. It might disappoint some viewers.
Right.
But it's important to remember that this is just the first season. There's still plenty of time to introduce those elements later.
I'm sure they will.
I think so too.
They've already shown us they're not afraid to take risks
Yeah.
and explore new territory.
Dune. Prophecy is a fresh take on a classic. It honors the source material, but it also does its own thing.
And who knows?
Maybe it will pave the way for future adaptations that explore other parts of the Dune universe in more depth.
I hope so. I'm always up for more Dune,
Me too.
especially when it's as well-made and thought-provoking as Dune. Prophecy.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the article comparing Dune, Prophecy to the Dune movies.
Yeah.
It's really cool how these two different timelines, thousands of years apart,
Right.
are suddenly connecting in unexpected ways.
It's like the past and present are colliding.
Yeah.
And it creates a much richer and more complex story.
The movies are introducing Dune to a whole new audience,
They are
while the series is digging into its history.
showing us where it all began.
It's like we're getting a more complete picture of the Dune universe.
Exactly. And it shows how powerful Frank Herbert's creation is. Dune continues to inspire new stories and interpretations, decades after it was first created.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion,
It is.
each layer revealing new secrets and connections.
And the more we learn, the more we realize how much more there is to discover.
Now, what do you think about the impact Dune Prophecy will have on the Dune fandom?
I think it's going to spark a lot of discussion and debate.
Which is a good thing.
It is. It's going to challenge people's assumptions, introduce new perspectives, and make fans rethink what they thought they knew about Dune.
I think it's also going to attract new fans. People who might have been drawn in by the movies,
Right.
but now want to explore the deeper lore and mythology of the Dune universe.
That's great. The more people who engage with Dune, the richer and more vibrant the fandom becomes.
Exactly. I think Dune Prophecy is doing a great job of making Dune accessible to a wider audience without sacrificing its complexity or depth.
I agree. It's a show that respects the source material, but it's not afraid to take risks.
All right, let's talk about the article's focus on the Bene Gesserit and their relationship with the Harkonnens.
Okay.
It seems like the show is setting up a major power struggle between them.
It does. The Bene Gesserit and the Harkonnens have always been rivals.
Right.
But Dune, prophecy suggests that their conflict is about to escalate.
The Bene Gesserit have had the upper hand for centuries.
Thanks to their control of the voice.
But now Desmond Hart has emerged, someone who can resist their most powerful weapon,
That changes everything.
It does.
It's a reminder that power is never permanent. It's always shifting. And those who don't adapt will be left behind.
And the Harkonnens, they're ruthless. They're always looking for an advantage.
They are.
They're perfectly positioned to take advantage of the Bene Gesserit's weakness.
They are.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this power struggle plays out.
It is.
Okay. Let's consider the significance of Desmond's resistance to the voice. It's a challenge to the Bene Gesserit's control.
Right.
But it also raises questions about power in general.
Yeah.
And what humans are capable of.
Desmond's resistance is a powerful symbol of hope. It shows that even in a world where powerful institutions and individuals try to control everything, there's still room for individual agency and defiance.
It's inspiring.
It is.
Makes you wonder if there are others out there like Desmond.
People who can resist oppression and fight for a more just and equitable world.
Maybe Desmond is just the beginning.
Maybe he is.
Maybe he's a sign of things to come.
It's an exciting thought.
Now, let's talk about the article's exploration of the voice's origins. It says Valya might have been the one who developed it.
Right.
Which makes you think about her motivations.
It does.
And the potential consequences of creating such a powerful tool. The power to influence others. It can be used for good or evil.
Absolutely. And the voice is no exception. It can be used to manipulate and control, to silence dissent, and to maintain unjust power structures.
But the article also suggests that Valya might have created the voice.
With good intentions, to protect humanity and guide them towards a better future. It's possible, but it also raises the question, who gets to decide what's best for everyone? And how far are they willing to go to achieve it?
It's a slippery slope.
It is.
Good intentions can sometimes lead to bad outcomes.
They can. The Bene Gesserit believe they're doing what's right, but their methods can be ruthless, and their arrogance can blind them to the potential consequences.
This exploration of the voice's origins adds a new dimension to the Bene Gesserit.
It does.
It makes them more complex.
More morally ambiguous.
It makes us question their motives.
And recognize that even organizations that claim to be working for the greater good can be corrupted by power.
Absolutely.
And that's something that resonates with our own world, where we see similar struggles with power and control.
Okay, let's talk about the Harkonnens. The article highlights their role in Desmond's upbringing.
Right.
And suggests that they might have experimented on him.
It's a disturbing thought.
It is.
The Harkonnens have never been known for their ethical behavior.
No, we haven't.
But this takes things to a whole new level.
What do you think they were trying to achieve with Desmond?
It's hard to say for sure. Maybe they were trying to create a weapon. A super soldier who could rival the Bene Gesserit.
Or maybe they were trying to control the voice itself.
That's possible too. They might have been trying to harness Desmond's unique connection to the voice for their own purposes.
It's a chilling reminder that the Harkonnens are a force to be reckoned with.
They are.
They're ruthless.
And they're willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want.
And Desmond's resistance to the voice, it makes his story even more significant.
It does.
He's not just defying the Bene Gesserit, he's also breaking free from the Harkonnens, the people who try to control him.
It's a powerful act of rebellion.
It is.
A testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome oppression.
Okay, let's delve into some of the theories about Tula's actions.
Okay.
One theory is that using the voice against Valya was all part of a bigger plan.
A plan to disrupt the Bene Gesserit. It's an intriguing theory, and it wouldn't be the first time the Bene Gesserit have used manipulation to achieve their goals.
Another theory is that Tula was acting out of desperation.
Desperation to protect her son.
Exactly.
That's definitely possible. We've seen how far she's willing to go for Desmond.
And then there's the theory that Tula's actions are part of a prophecy.
A prophecy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, like a preordained event that's going to change the balance of power in. So we've talked a lot about the shocking twists in Dune, prophecy, and what they might mean for the future of the voice. And the Bene Gesserit, we've also talked about. The Harkonnens' role in Desmond's life, and how their experiments might have given him the power to resist the voice. And we've discussed how Desmond's resistance could be a sign of even bigger changes to come in the Dune universe.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting discussion.
It has. But before we wrap things up, I want to go back to something we touched on earlier. The idea that Dune prophecy might not be the best starting point for people who are new to Dune.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It focuses so much on the Bene Gesserit and their history.
Yeah.
And their relationship with the Harkonnens.
Right. If you're looking for a broad overview of the Dune universe, Dune prophecy might not be the best place to start.
It's true that we haven't seen much of, like the Spacing Guild or the Fremen yet.
Right.
But even if it's not a complete picture of the Dune universe, I still think it's essential viewing for any hardcore Dune fan.
Oh, absolutely. It gives us a new perspective on things we thought we knew. And it introduces new characters like Desmond Hart, who could change everything about the power dynamics in the Dune universe.
So for someone who's completely new to Dune, where do you think they should start?
I think the Dune movies are a good introduction.
Yeah.
They're visually stunning.
Yeah.
And they do a good job of explaining the basic concepts and characters.
Right.
And then once they have a grasp on the fundamentals, they can dive into Dune, prophecy to explore the deeper history.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
It is.
Each layer revealing new depths and complexities. I love that analogy.
It really speaks to the richness of the Dune universe.
There's always something new to discover.
Always.
It's a universe that rewards curiosity.
And it keeps inspiring new stories and interpretations all these years after it was created.
Okay. The Screen Rant article focuses a lot on the Bene Gesserit and their rivalry with the Harkonnens.
Yeah.
It seems like Dune. Prophecy is setting the stage for a major showdown between them.
I think so. They've always been at odds.
But now it feels like their conflict is about to reach a whole new level.
Especially with Desmond Hart in the picture.
Right. His resistance to the voice could be the catalyst that changes everything.
It could. It makes you realize that power is never truly secure.
It's always in flux.
Exactly. And those who cling to the old ways risk losing everything.
And the Harkonnens, they're always ready to seize an opportunity.
They are. They're ruthless and opportunistic.
They'll be waiting to pounce as soon as the Bene Gesserit show any weakness.
I have no doubt about that.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out. Desmond Hart is such a compelling character.
He is.
He's quickly become one of the most interesting figures in the Dune universe.
And we still know so little about him.
Right.
His past, his motivations, the true extent of his abilities.
But his resistance to the voice? It's a sign that he has a unique power.
It is.
A power that could change the balance of power in the Dune universe. He's caught between the Bene Gesserit and the Harkonnens.
Two of the most powerful forces in the universe.
Right. He's a pawn in their game.
But he could also become a kingmaker.
I like that.
He could tip the scales in one direction or the other.
Desmond's story is a classic underdog tale.
It is.
And I think that's why people are so drawn to him. He represents hope.
Hope that even the most powerful systems can be challenged.
And overcome.
Desmond's resistance to the voice.
Yeah.
It's a powerful symbol of individual agency. A reminder that we all have the power to resist control.
It makes you wonder what role he'll play in the future of Dune.
It does.
Will he help defeat the Harkonnens? Or will he be used by them?
Only time will tell.
Tula Harkonnen is another character who has really captured my attention.
She is a fascinating study in contradictions.
She's fiercely loyal to her son.
And she's willing to defy anyone who threatens him.
But her actions could have serious consequences.
They could.
The Bene Gesserit don't take kindly to disobedience. She could be punished.
She could even be hunted down by her own order.
But her defiance could also inspire others to question the Bene Gesserit.
Maybe it'll lead to a movement for reform.
Or even a split within the order.
It's a real dilemma.
It is.
And it's one of the things that makes Dune prophecy so thought-provoking.
It forces us to think about the nature of power, loyalty, and the choices we make when we're faced with impossible odds.
It also makes you wonder about destiny.
Yeah.
Are our lives predetermined? Or do we have the power to choose our own path?
Is Tula acting on her own free will? Or is she just a pawn in some larger cosmic game?
Dune. Prophecy doesn't give us easy answers.
It doesn't.
But it makes us ask these questions.
It makes us grapple with these mysteries.
And that's the mark of a great story.
It doesn't tell us what to think.
It challenges us to think for ourselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Dune, prophecy, I want to leave you with one final question to ponder. If the voice can be resisted, what does that mean for the future of the Dune universe?
What will happen to the Bene Gesserit?
What will happen to the Harkonnens? And what role will Desmond Hart play in it all?
It's going to be fascinating to watch it all unfold.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, keep exploring the vast and complex world of Dune.